Okay, sorry again, everyone. My laptop crashed and ruined everything, so I'm going to just start this whole stream and episode again, really. So hello and welcome to vPopulus Cafe, hosted by Four and Calamate123. Today on the agenda.
Hello.
You are there, Four. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm here for a while.
Oh wow, that's good to hear. Hopefully we won't experience any more
But
problems.
well, due to last week, which was very rough, I am probably as informed about Vpop as many other people. So I think I will be more like the listener in this cafe. Maybe I will be able to answer some questions or
Yeah.
as well.
Well, yeah.
It's
Well,
your call, brother.
so yeah, today on the agenda really is just talking more about the general feedback from the vPopulus survey, and some interesting community ideas that I had that I wanted to discuss. But ultimately, I think this episode in length and in quality will come down to the player. So we because we want to answer really this was all just to answer questions long and short, easy and hard that players might have. I think Clav said he might stop by later on as well. But yeah, I'm just going to get started again. As I was discussing before the whole laptop crash, we recently announced a community v populous survey, which has so far had quite a few responses. All the responses have been quite thorough as well. Particularly things about like, what was helpful. So Discord being the main thing, which is good. Obviously, that just shows you the strength of the community. Some people did learn from the wiki. Others found it not so helpful. Uh, the tutor system was really helpful as well, according to many of the responses. But from what I can see, the main feedback, the general feedback, being about the interface of the game and improvements that need to be made there. So just people want a more interactive, something that pops a bit more on the screen, just because it needs a bit more to keep people engaged more than anything. I think from the feedback so far, the main thing is that people think that the general game itself runs very well. It just needs to work on a bigger level than before. One of the other main things was missions. We did apparently missions were in the works, but the developer that was working on that has gone inactive. So we'll be looking obviously at that and trying to get that back and running because that's something that keeps people engaged. Is It seems quite a simple thing to do, um, and it keeps players going and going really. Again, yes, any questions that people might have, we are happy to answer. But yeah, so again, this whole podcast is more about answering questions that the players have.
Yeah. So, do we have any questions? Carl?
Oh, sorry, my laptop just froze. This has been
Again?
absolute pain. Yeah, well, this time at least it didn't break down. This time it just froze. Because I thought I was saying stuff, but it didn't apparently come out.
Carl, Carl.
Anyway.
We've seen the impact teamwork has had on our world.
That weird fear. Well, finally, Help! Help me, Club! I am well aware about that, but
Okay, okay,
don't know
everyone.
why I
Welcome to
hear.
third edition of vPopulus Cafe. Our most recent addition to the team, Callum, is having some problems. He was supposed to be the host for this cafe. I'm Clav, by the way. So I'll be here for a couple of minutes while For and Callum, the hosts for this edition of the cafe, will sort things out together. Um, I don't really know what was the plan, but I was listening to it, and it was while I was working, and the plan was to answer players' questions. We are well aware that most of the players don't really have a lot of questions, um, so or they are shy. I would like to remind everyone that people can join on the cafe and actually talk with us. That's the point of this. That the community and the players chat a bit with us on voice chat, not only text chat. Besides that, I would like to formally welcome Callum into the Populus team. We are getting our house in order while we are not. We are forgetting and we are moving past some issues we had. And now we'll move forward with vPopulus, and our concept will remain the same, but we'll have more constant and consistent updates.
Well, I guess every single citizen hopes it will turn into the slow, actually, maybe faster, but rest the vPopulus.
Yeah, we know actually what we have to do, but at this moment it's hard to get when you are working with teams that work in different time zones, and none of them work full time. So everyone does this as like side project or anything like this. It comes to holidays, and people like Callum said, and it was very well said. People want to spend time with their families, drinking, chilling. They don't want to work, and then we are as we are a team, if a member of the team fails, everything else is going to crumble with it. So we had, for example, the missions. Everything for missions was planned, and last, as Callum said, the developer working on it couldn't really have time for it, so everything stopped because of one developer didn't have time to finish one thing. So it's like a chain reaction, and hopefully we'll move past this. Don't you agree, for?
Well, can't disagree with that, Club. Especially since I was at least a couple times the weakest link of the team due to
I mean, there's
some very weak things and hitting quarrel with my brother.
come on, Pikachu, if you are listening, be nicer to four. Don't use all those for internet. How do you have that? How do you have limits on your internet? It's 2018 now.
Well, some providers are just old-fashioned. Let's say about this, especially in Poland, where there is one probably very big provider, Orange.
Yeah.
You know it from in other countries. Well,
Yeah, I
in
know it.
Orange took in Poland took telecom TPSA its internet offer called Neostrada or Nervostrata, literally losing the nerves, like it's called by the users.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
Sh-
they
Shout out to
well
Shiloh. If
just
we
suddenly cut it off the agreement. So I had
sh-
a very
sh-
rough
shout out to
weekend
Shiloh.
without
Uh,
going to the restaurants or bars or clubs just to get a little bit of internet to the.
Yeah, okay. If, Shiloh, if If we ping too much, it's because we ping too much. If we don't ping anyone, nobody will listen, and then people say, "Why didn't you tell me?" So if you are bothering too much, you can mute everyone in the channel. Callum, I would like you to say something.
Give him time, Graf. Give him a little bit time. Actually, remember, he had some problems with the computer, so
Yeah.
first let him get a little grasp, and then we may ask him questions. Okay?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I have a very weird idea.
Oh,
Let's
come on,
let's
Vor.
ask Carl
Oops, alright, I just
about
realized I just deafened
everything
myself.
which comes into our minds.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
As the way to for the people to
community get to
know
Callum.
people from the team a little bit more. Okay?
Alright. If Callum is okay with it, I'll be okay with it. But remember, we shouldn't stay too much off topic, and the cafe shouldn't last more than 1 hour. Okay? And
I don't think
also,
it will be last longer than 1 hour,
and also,
unless people will start talking, actually questioning the private life of Carl.
actually, by the way, I'm actually sorry for the
But
third
I
edition of the
think
cafe taking so longer.
Okay,
That
you first.
I'm sorry for that. For the third edition to come out of the cafe, it took so long, but we were actually busy with other features and other tools for vPopulus. But hey, on the bright side, the fourth edition it will be come out faster than the third one, so it's all good. You four, back to you.
Okay. Well, personally, I think people could know our team a little bit more. So I think, Carl, are you ready?
I don't think so.
Because I have some interesting questions to ask. Probably some people will be okay. Carl,
Maybe he's
Carl.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
yeah. Hey, Callum,
Oh, you
welcome
can hear
back.
me?
Yes.
Ah, here we go.
Four was
Well,
subjected.
I'm still not on my laptop. My laptop is still not working. I am currently on my phone.
Oh, good,
So,
because it has a better microphone than your computer. So, nice.
look, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
If you
It
didn't
is a
cut
bit
up,
of a piece of shit, my laptop, so...
if you didn't cut up, Four was saying that for the rest of the players, for the whole community to get to know you better, we should ask you random questions. Are you up for it?
Shoot, go for it.
Go ahead, Four.
Alright, so
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, and
I'll just explain a little bit about myself. So I am from Melbourne, Australia. I'm a student at the moment. I'm currently studying politics and international relations. I did a degree in journalism as well. I am currently drinking coffee, so at least I'm keeping to form with this cafe. And Bryce
well,
is...
it's morning to you, so.
It's about almost 10 o'clock here now in the morning. So if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask any.
For us the questions. For us all the weird questions. Do you do any sports?
I used to. I used to be very I used to do tons of sports. I used to do football, footy, like AFL, Australian football. I did
What is
baseball.
Australian football?
Australian football, it's kind of hard to describe. It's a bit like, I suppose the closest sport to it would be rugby.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And
But
did you do
completely
baseball?
different.
What it's like? What's for me, baseball seems so boring.
It
Seems
is not as boring as cricket though, and I did cricket for a couple of years as
what
well.
the fuck?
Whoa!
Cricket is much more boring. Baseball, at least, like the ball's getting flung out all the time, and you get to bat like a few times and stuff like that. While in cricket, you have to wait like 6 hours, like fielding, which is really boring. And then you sit around and watch other people bat, and then you bat. And then, being me, I was terrible at batting. I got out pretty quickly,
But
so most of the time I just ended up watching people do stuff.
6 hours horribly long.
Yeah, well, and this was only like for like 15-year-olds and stuff like that, 14, 15-year-olds.
Uh,
And the games just went for so long. Like half the people I know like dropped out.
damn.
Well,
Why did
let's go
Australia
with that.
lose a war to emus? We don't like to talk about that, Bryce. I've told you multiple times. We
And
don't like
it's
to talk about the emu
yeah.
war.
That's just Bryce.
And
Bryce being Bryce.
Look at the Mark question for. I think you should answer it.
No, which one?
So Mark proposes we should add a soccer team for countries for fun.
Well, I think that's really unfair because Australia would lose.
No, because
I don't
you
think.
remember
I don't think so. It depends of the things we will be done, and club especially noticed that this is a little bit question for me because in 2 or 3 years ago, is my memory correct?
I think so.
I was on vPop called vSoccer, where I literally took players' statistics from the game and actually into another game to simulate soccer matches in
Okay.
the parody of.
Sorry,
It was the same. We even managed then to host the World Cup.
Yeah, we hosted the World Cup. That's actually
Poland won with Brazil 7-1.
the first time I talked with Four was actually because I was
Before,
doing commentaries for
Brazil
this.
lost to Germany, the same record.
It was pretty good, but Four lost everything, and he said so far he couldn't have like a proper internet connection to do it. So we couldn't move on with it. But it was really fun. I think I can say that it put a lot of people that otherwise, if it wasn't for vSoccer, it would have quit vPopulus, but this was so fun that people didn't actually quit and they stick around because it was.
Just actually, what else?
I heard about people who were standing still in vPop because vSoccer.
Yeah, my housemate didn't really wanted to play, but because he
You
was
mean
in the
Patron?
team, yeah, but because he was in the team, he kept on he kept on playing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But
Well,
I didn't have an opportunity to save any match of that World Cup.
Yeah,
who won the World Cup?
Poland, I think.
Poland. Oh.
Yeah, finals were Poland versus Serbia.
And what was the final
Australia
score?
landed third in
Okay, that's
the
not too bad.
Brazil was last.
Brazil. Yeah, like that would happen in real life.
Yeah, I was playing in the French team, as far as I
Oh.
remember. Yeah, because as always, there were barely alive countries, and players were changing nationalities as gloves, just in some cases, just to be able to play in the World Cup.
That's
LOL.
Okay.
It was really fun. But Colin, more vPopulus related. What are your real expectations for what we can do?
Well, for the main thing, I think it's just trying to get the activity back. Because there's still quite a few players that play this game. What I want to see is players coming back to the game and kind of getting more into it again. And that kind of starts with the staff. So that's why I wanted to host this, for example, even though my laptop crashed a couple times. Just to show that we're back. That's the short-term goal. Long-term, I haven't really thought of any long-term goals, but an idea that I thought would be quite interesting, kind of like the soccer thing, was hosting like maybe like a weekly game night.
Yeah, actually, due to everything that is happening, you have not been put up to date completely on our ideas because we actually forgot some. But one of our ideas that I was off of it because I don't really play any games at the moment. But for Kriske and Dano were supposed to plan community events outside vPopulus, like Supremacy games or Warlight games or League of Legends games. But then they never came around to do it.
So I'm not a huge gamer myself, but I do have a few games. I was thinking of maybe hosting one, maybe next week.
Yeah.
I don't know what game yet. I don't even know what people play these days, to be honest.
That's it. But
I thought
we can survey it and we can make it happen. And we can
yeah, I
reward
think
gold and stuff, so people keep at it.
yeah, I think that's something like that can be done very quickly and quite easily, and I think people would enjoy getting to play with some of their other fellow players and something a bit different and something maybe a bit less country based and more about getting everyone together and just playing a
Fun.
game and seeing who's actually good at it. And of course, fun.
To answer Mark, what's in the works? At the moment, for the short-term activity, we added column for the team to dynamizate the community and decertificate everything. Then we are doing some design changes because at least some icons and some more images to make everything visually more appealing for the players. And we are also getting our blog in order because this is it's easier for people to find vPopulus on blog than actually vPopulus itself because Google search engines do not find lots of pages about vPopulus because it's after everything is after the login page. So for you to access the game, you have to log in. So Google doesn't count all the pages after the login page. And with the blog, we publicize the game there and we can put a better explanation for it. So it will work a bit as a search engine optimization. And we are almost done with the blog. And then I think maybe before the end of the month, we will start adding everything to Wiki, which will be which will be a job for For and Column, and of course other players.
With the wiki, I was thinking, so are players able to actually do it themselves, or is it just the developers that do it?
The players are able to do them themselves, but the page needs to be approved by an admin or moderator. At the moment,
Okay.
but at the moment, the wiki is working, but it doesn't have a good layout or good functionalities. It's a bit of a mess on the back end on approving pages and translating pages to other languages. So me and Dano, I told you that I couldn't join the meeting because I was having another meeting before with Dano for actually not chatting with the community but developing work. So we were planning everything and we should have it done by the end of the month, maybe before, depends on how it goes.
And was there something there was a big change to the economic module that you were looking at doing as well?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? I think as your big first action, you should announce it.
Oh yes. So well, I don't. Well, the main thing is there will be a change to the production module, if formula, if I'm correct.
Yes, I think you are correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that should be a big boost for all the people, all the economic nerds out there.
so this means that I'll let you finish.
So what is the change to the formula?
The change to the formula is that at the moment we have the general formula using skill, wellness, regional factor for raw materials, the number of employees, the quality of the company. Those are the general factors, and then it's being multiplied by 3. So because we changed it by 3, we multiplied by 3 because it didn't really uh, because we changed the concept on juices and hospital and houses, so we should also change the production factor, and we did. But after a couple of players called our attention that it wasn't enough, and it's actually being harmful for more experienced players, because the more experienced player you are, the more items you consume, but the more items you produce, but demand couldn't keep up. So we are changing the 3 to 4. This means, column, drum roll.
Boo! No, I can't even do it. I tried to make noises with my mouth and didn't work. But what is the change?
Okay, I'm sorry, Callum. I was writing to you to say it, but I forgot you were on mobile.
Yeah, I'm kind of holding this like if I'm actually in a phone call, so I'm not really looking at the
I'm
text.
sorry. Yeah. So this means that in all items and all raw materials, there will be an extra 25% production. This After this, we'll analyze how the markets adapt, and if we have to keep changing it, we will keep changing it. But I think for now it will be enough.
Do you think we should? I think also with the change, we should make it into an insider, just so obviously everyone has the general idea of how it's going to work and how it's going to benefit them.
Yeah.
And that's when do you plan to have this change begin?
At midnight, so in about 53 minutes.
53 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So
Short term notice much.
yeah.
So more questions about yourself again. Do you watch series? Do you rather series or movies?
I prefer series. I'm not a big movie watcher. I will watch a couple, but I watch definitely much more television than I do movies. So I like documentaries and stuff like that. I will constantly rage against Netflix awful range of documentaries. I watch a lot of British TV shows as well because I just think they're funny. But yeah, that's mostly it. TV series.
Okay.
What do you follow football, Clev?
Not really. I only watch closely the national team.
The national team.
Yeah, I mean, I watch. I like to watch football, but I don't like the whole marketing and selling and everything and the corruption in football. That I don't like. So I try to stay off of it. I like good football. I don't mean it like the biggest team like Real Madrid versus Barcelona. That's not really. I mean, it's a good game, but it has so much corruption that I rather not be a part of it. I rather like watch.
It's just really a big brand thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And if you look into it, FIFA it's one of the most corrupt institutions in sports.
Oh, in the world, never mind the sport.
Yeah, so
It's unbelievable. Like the fact that the Qatar can host a World Cup as well.
For example, that makes no sense whatsoever.
No.
For example, in Portuguese national team, about 75% of the players are from the same agent, the same
Yeah,
as Cristiano Ronaldo. You know this
yeah,
agent?
Thingy Mendes, I think his
Yeah,
name is, or George Mendes or something.
yeah, and then
It's unbelievable.
that's why Renato Sanches, because it has a complete monopoly over everything. So if he wants a player to play like in a World Cup, because like that Renato Sanches that was sold to Bayern, it's like a guy that played in Benfica and was sold for like up 35 millions, and it could be up to 85 if he won some prizes or something like that. And it was a huge flop because the manager pressured our national team coach to make it to put him in playing, so he could sell it, so he could have like a better offer
More
for it.
money, though.
Yeah, so that's why I don't really like it. But I watch the national team because that
See,
I overlook.
see, the team I follow, I never really have to bother with big money things because I follow Scottish football,
Oh wow.
and there is absolutely no money in Scottish football. So
actually,
the
actually,
35 million is absolutely like
it's the world
mind-boggling.
budget.
You could buy half the league with 35 million euros.
Actually, the only sport I watch more closely is athleticism.
Is what?
Athleticism.
Oh
Athleticism.
yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on how to pronounce it. But
Like
I practiced for a couple of years, and I keep following because I know them. I know the athletes, and I like them, and I keep on following them. And Portugal has a good athletes on that sport as well.
Are you a fan of the Olympics then?
Yeah, really. I really like the Olympics because even imagine everything is it's really nice because uh, I'm watching the Olympics. I'm watching random sports that I will never watch in a million years, and every single edition, every 4 years, I find a new country that I didn't knew it existed.
Mm, that's
so
true.
so it's quite funny. Mark, I'm from Portugal. Oh, I'm from Portugal. Callum is from Australia, and Ford is from Poland. On our team, Kriske is from Hungary. Dano, our lead developer, is from Poland as well. Cowboy is from Serbia, I think. That's the whole team at the moment. That we are planning to expand. Oh, actually, Matt is also from Australia.
Ah yes, yeah. The Grey Wolf.
Yeah.
For those in
Yeah, the
game.
Grey War. Yeah, sorry. I tend to remove nicknames and talk with real names. But sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he doesn't mind. He just so the listeners know who we're talking about. Which is it's a bit of a shame with Gray at the moment because he just he got very busy. So he can't work and he can't really do as much with the game, which is obviously a bit sad.
Yeah, but we'll bounce back. It will be nice.
Yeah.
We if when you do this for so long, it will be it definitely has ups and downs and ups and downs, and you realize that at this in the December and in the whole December and the first half of January, the activity is more down than up because also with the university and exams and everything, people turn their lives a bit to their real lives, so they don't have so much time to play. But after
Yeah.
this, it will be brighter. I've seen this happen again and again, and now we have new blood in the team, and we are more organized as well.
Yeah, I feel things are coming more together, which is good. So hopefully we can obviously keep that up and get some real changes happening soon. Just because that's really what players like to see. They like to see things being done. So hopefully we can get that going a bit.
Yeah, we definitely can. Uh, Matt, to answer, how did you kickstart the game when it was made? Do you mean like how did we finance the game, or do you mean like how do we started the game? I don't really understand.
You could answer both. You could
Yeah,
just say.
we didn't really finance the game on ourselves. We just spent a long time, long hours doing everything, coding everything. It was me and Daniel who did this version. We did it all alone. So after we found my ex housemate who did the current design, and then we keep on adding more players, and the money people spend on gold, that to be honest is almost nothing. And from the AdSense, from the ads we show, that it's not much either. We go to it goes to spending to paying the servers, paying the domains, and buying some tools that we used for a better for the game to work better. For example, we bought a tool to send marketing emails because we were spending like 30 euros to send 5,000 emails, and now we spend a couple of cents, 2 euros to send 5,000 emails. So, and we have a backup fund so for we to use in marketing when there's a call for it. But there's we want to start small in marketing and then grow bigger, because we want we 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 want to make sure that we are doing it right, and that the game can handle everything, and it's not be getting players to work for 2 days and then quit.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing at the moment. It's keeping people around. So when we get that right, I think then we can start marketing.
Yeah,
And I think I think it can work. Yeah, it's just like people might show up. There might be lots of people that show up, but then they feel like, oh, well, I don't really like the game. I'm just gonna leave. Then that's just wasted money.
because vPopulus is not it's not pretty, and then it's fair game. It's not like click 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 buy 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 win win win. It's like its strategy. It's slow. It's very slow, and it's community driven. So you have to get related with the community. We have to get into with the community, and if you don't, you will take longer to understand the game, and to actually you probably won't be able to really enjoy it. One of the problems we have is that with everything we have troubles for the players to see our concept, to understand the concept of vPopulus, because there is a Republic and a Sim and a Dominion. I don't know. There are 1,000 games like this, but they are copies of it's a Republic and copies of current version of a Republic, and then there's a Sim, but that is different. But I never really played it, so I don't really know what's different. But vPopulus is very slow. It's balanced, so the economy works. It's community driven. We don't have like bots doing stuff. We don't make random things just for the players to spend money on. We don't do it for the money. We do it because we've been doing it since 2011, and if I had to count how many hours I spend in vPopulus, I don't know.
It's better not to think about it.
Yeah, when we started, when me and Daniel started, on the first time we released vPopulus, I remember that I worked for 29 hours straight.
29 hours straight.
Yeah, and I'm not able to do this anymore. And every time we do something big and people come and complain, I'm too fed up with it. I mean, we have our faults. We are definitely not perfect, and we are not very. Sometimes we are not very professionals because we go off for a week or something. But we have a rest of the team to work. But if someone else on the team also has an issue, then the whole game will have an issue. But we are trying to fill in that void.
And yeah, it's always because obviously you could make lots of changes if you had people that were working on this full time, but obviously that can't happen without money. So changes will obviously happen slowly.
Yeah, and it's sometimes, to be honest, it crushes a bit our motivation when you come here and the people are angry because we are not spending time on a free project. Uh, it kills you a bit on the inside. I'm already done, so I don't mind. Um, we were inspired, Matt, to answer your question. What inspired you to make the game? Um, Back then, it was back in 2010, 2007. There was a version of another game that was similar to vPopulus, and then the game changed and became pay to win. Everything changed about the game. So the only thing that remained was the name and geopolitical strategy game, but didn't even add more strategy. It was just buy gold, fight, win, because there was no limits on gold buying, there was no limits on fighting. So one player could fight the rest of the world if they had the money to spend, and some of them had money. So the game changed, and everyone wanted the other game back, the normal version of it. So the Populous was based on that, uh, and we started it with really no expectations. Actually, the guy who started it, I joined the team. I wasn't the first founder. The guy who started left the game after like 3 months or something, and I that's and me and Dano were left with another guy, Nikolai, and we kept on going, and we had to redo everything, and we had to start from the beginning. And we did it because we wanted to play the game. We want to play vPopulus. We want to do it, but then we didn't really have time to play the game because we were developing it, and it became I don't know, going on vPopulus. I cannot see the game as a player. I only see it as a developer. I made a lot of friends though. I spent a lot of time chatting with players, and I made lots of friends. Daniel, Dano, most of you guys don't know it because I might have forbidden him to join Discord because he's not very good talking with people, and he wants to make things good, and he wants to make things right, but it makes everything worse. So he doesn't really communicate with players, but we're always kept in the loop. He came to Portugal like twice, and I went to Poland, and it's fun because things grow so easily like this. Do you know someone, Callum? Do you know someone from real life? Am I pronouncing your name right?
Sorry?
Am I pronouncing your name right, Callum?
Yeah, Callum. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Do you know in real life anyone who plays vPopulus?
I don't, but there's been a couple of close encounters. I know the player Scotty West.
Oh, nice.
Well, I don't know him personally, but we live quite close to each other. And Tim Tananium. Us three were going to catch up in Melbourne at some point late last year, but that didn't end up happening. But with the Australian community, everyone knows each other from eRepublic.
Yeah.
So I think almost every single player that you see in Australia is almost an ex-eRepublic player.
Yeah,
So we all know each other quite well through that. So I've known a lot of them for about 5-6 years.
Well, when I when I moved out of my parents' house and I went to university, the first people I met in the city, I met them through a Republic, and they
Oh,
actually,
really?
yeah, and they played with Republic for quite a while, but then the group kind of split up and they stopped playing. But it was fun because it had a real impact in everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what games like this can do as well. I know in eRepublic as well, Australia had one meetup
Mm-hmm.
on the Gold Coast. And so a lot of the players that are playing now in Australia some of them will have met each other in real life, though I haven't personally. Actually, there was an ex-eRepublic player that I kind of knew as well, but he doesn't play vPopulus.
Yeah, I went to Lisbon, which is from my hometown at the time, like 250 kilometers, for an Republic meeting, and it was pretty cool. Actually, we were planning to do. I have to go to Poland because a friend of mine is getting married, and
Oh, okay.
I have to go to Poland in the summer, like in August. And I was lots of players are from nearby, at least four, Koala, Dano. Uh, Maybe we could fly out to Kriske, and we were thinking that maybe we could do like a small meeting of vPopulus in Poland.
Up there. In Poland, yeah.
Yeah, I mean for you it's kind of harder because yeah, you're in
Yeah,
a
well,
whole different
a flight to
continent.
Poland would probably cost me about there and back would cost me about 1,400 euros. So, but I am going to be in Scotland for 9 days in August.
Oh, so
But-
actually, to fly from Scotland shouldn't be much expensive. Maybe like 100 euros both ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, watch the space then.
What?
Hold on. Oh, sorry. Maybe that will happen.
Yeah, we'll keep everything in the loop, and we'll keep
Yeah,
talking.
still a long time away.
Yeah, I don't know even. I don't know what
Yeah.
really. Maybe the wedding will be called off or anything like that.
I'm going to Scotland for a wedding as well in August.
Nice. So we can have a formal vPopulus meeting. Nice.
Yeah, we could maybe. Yeah. Watch the space maybe will happen. But I'm going to guess the time will probably be a bit off.
No, more questions. What should we talk about? Does anyone any player has any other questions? We are going with 53 minutes, but I think we started a bit later because the disconnect, so we can keep it a bit further on. No more questions. I'll make my own questions then. Do you like to read?
Read?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a massive reader.
What I'm not. I'm really not. I like.
I read a lot of classics. I'm not really into like sci-fi or anything like that. I like your George Orwell's. I'm just looking at my bookshelf here and just trying to find names. Graham Greene.
I like scientific books that analyze anything or analyze something. That's what I like. But I don't really. I've really been reading a lot.
Yeah, see, I spend a lot of my time reading because my background is journalism, so I like to keep sharp in that respect and read as much as I can. So yeah, I'm just looking at my bookshelf here. I'm just trying to count how many books I've got.
What is the website? What is the website used the most for entertainment?
Oh, for entertainment.
Like, where do you spend your free time doing like whatever?
Just mostly Netflix, really. I try when I'm not like doing vPopulus or like just like scrolling on Facebook, just like trying to be active and doing other stuff.
Really?
But yeah, I'd say probably Netflix, Facebook, and vPopulus are the main three.
I'm a lot of on Facebook, but not only on not Facebook, but Messenger, like Facebook Messenger.
Oh yeah, Messenger.
But Messenger.com, not Facebook.com.
Oh, okay.
Like it's the app, but for the browser. It's the app you use on your mobile for the browser. Because Facebook, I use it because everyone uses it, and it's easier to get in touch. And I broke my phone, and the phone I have at the moment. The phone I have at the moment
very handy.
is really bad, and for example, I don't really see. I messed with all the settings, and I have this phone for like 2 months. It was my sister's phone, and I do not whatever, no matter what, I won't receive Discord notifications.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow, that's
I
bad.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. So that's why for emergencies we use Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 2 brothers and a sister.
Is that
Um,
normal?
no, I think we've got quite. Oh, like it is kind of normal, but it's not. A lot of families in Australia have either 1 or 2 kids.
Same here.
Yeah. So there's a massive gap between the age of my sister and I. I'm 24, while she is 38, 39.
Yeah, that's a big difference. But at some point, at this age, it doesn't make that much of a difference because
No.
everyone's character is already built up.
Yeah. Are you a big drinker?
Yes. Now, not really because I definitely have no time because I'm studying. I'm studying. I have a job and I do vPopulus. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of time left. But
Oh, there's always time for drinking there, Clav.
not really, because if I drink, for example, if I go out and drink and the next day I don't be able to do something, then I will be putting on hold on a whole team because they are waiting for me to do something. So I don't really do it anymore. I drink now. I'm more into, since I cannot go out and get shit faced. I like to go have like nice dinners and good red wine and such. I only drink wine, beer, and whiskey and rum.
And whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked because I got alcoholic poisoning the other day. So I've only recently grown my appetite again for drinking, and I got a $5 bottle of red wine last night, and it was about as good as a $5 bottle of red wine is.
You know, €5 a bottle of red wine here is really, really, really good. But I think wine here must be really cheap comparing to Australia. Here,
Oh yeah.
the
To
bad
even
wine,
get the
the bad wine you can buy a liter for €1.30. Not a liter,
oh wow,
75 a bottle. It's 75, not a liter. For €1 and
Jesus.
30, €1 and 40. For €3, you can get really good wine. For €5, like, oh, party.
How much would a bottle of like a decent whiskey cost?
€18.
Oh, that's so cheap.
Really?
In Australia, it would cost for like a 750 like ml bottle of like just a normal whiskey. So say a Johnny Walker Red would be about
Oh,
$38-40. So
oh,
about
that's a
20
lot.
euros,
You can buy
and
like
that's just for Johnny Red.
you can buy like a really good bottle of rum for €80, like Captain Morgan's.
Eight
You
Captain
can,
Morgan's is €8.
yeah.
Oh my god, it's like $40 here. So like almost 20 euros.
Maybe I can ship it and we have a business.
Yeah, bootleg it. Well, that's what people are doing. That a kind of big thing in Australia at the moment is because cigarette prices are so expensive that people are getting like cheap Chinese ones, like on like the black market,
Oh,
because
really?
it costs for like a 20 pack of cigarettes costs about $25, so about
Oh, wow.
almost 15 euros.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think people, I don't smoke. People who smoke here, they buy like an ounce of tobacco, so they roll their own cigarettes.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's expensive. Everything's expensive in Australia. Um, that's just
Yeah,
how it's been for a while now because we've got big taxes.
yeah, but our minimum wage is like €550.
Oh, really? Oh, as
Yeah.
in, wait, that's your minimum wage per month or week
Yeah,
or
per month.
per month? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's why things are cheaper because people need to afford them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, but our minimum wage is for someone I think over the age of 21. I think it has to be 21 Australian dollars, which I think is about maybe 10 euros, maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's because our
Lots of
inflation's pretty.
Lots of Portuguese people are going to Australia to live there because they can live a better life in Australia than they do in Portugal. They will receive definitely way more money and they will be living a more comfortable life. Some of them don't
Hmm.
even plan. Some of them, of course, plan on returning to Portugal. Some don't really plan to come back.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, in Australia, lots of people plan to go to Portugal because they have a bit of money and they want to spend it, and see how much money, how far their money goes. So, like,
Yeah,
they think because you can get cheap alcohol there, and like I was saying, like cheap alcohol, cheap
yeah.
cigarettes and stuff like that.
You
The
can
food's really good and cheap, and
you can go for a meal out in a restaurant with a jar of wine, meal, coffee, and dessert. €7. It's the average per person.
sorry, say that again. I missed that.
So yeah, for if you go and eat out in a restaurant, for a jar of wine, like
Mm.
it's half a bottle, maybe half a liter or something of wine, maybe a bit less, and the main dish, dessert and coffee, it's about €7.
€7. Wow.
Yeah,
You couldn't even get a starter in Australia for that amount.
but I mean, it's not like fancy restaurants. It's good restaurants, but not fancy, like
Yeah,
standard.
and that's what you want. You want good food and
Yeah, I go like
good company and
I,
good wine.
yeah. Actually, the last time I drank was in New Year's Eve. Yeah. After, so I don't drink.
Okay.
I'm Vasco, and I don't drink for 14 days.
Wow. And how do you feel?
Actually, I went back. I restarted training. So I'm better. I feel I restarted training again for an half marathon, and yeah, I feel with more energy. Even though I'm working all the time and I sleep like average of 6 hours per night.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
but this is only lately because I'm under a lot of things. Uh, I still push myself to do it, and I feel with more energy than if I didn't do. I actually, my routine, my plan for 2018 was to, of course, it would be to do some sport, um, and it was to meditate more because if I
Meditate.
yeah, because I spent, I don't know, all my time. I spend all my day in the computer, uh,
Mm.
and I tend to like. I'm on the computer for work. I'm on the computer to relax. I'm on the computer to watch a series, and then I go to bed and I don't know how to relax anymore because all the time everything is hitting the computer, the phone, everything at once, and you don't relax anymore. You're always awake. You don't chill. So I
And
started.
that's what's great about books as well, though. So
Yeah,
sitting back and having a drink and reading a book is a good way to unwind as well, and it gets you away from the computer and stuff like that. So
yeah. I have a lot of fights with my girlfriend because I think that's the point. And she reads more in the last month. She reads books on the mobile phone. I
oh
think
yeah, yeah,
it's so dumb. I think it's that's it. For me, it loses the point of reading a book. But
I agree. That all my books are actual books, not like Kindle or like on the
yeah,
phone or iPad or whatever.
for me, it loses all the point, and that's. But at least I run, and I meditate, and she does that, so we good.
After this, I'll take a photo of my my small bookshelf that I've got in the room I'm in.
I actually I didn't send any photos of my workspace. I will show you later. Um, but yeah, actually I'm gonna open a Visual Studio and do everything so we publish at midnight, so players don't complain about oh my god, I worked 5 minutes after they changed and the change didn't take effect. I had 25% minus on productivity. So wait,
Yeah, that's
don't
gonna be
work at
fun.
midnight. Work at midnight 10 minutes.
So for me, it's just about 11 o'clock day change. So in the morning, so it's nice for me.
Yeah, actually, I never been. I never been in a midnight in game is always midnight for me. Only this year we are not using daylight saving time, or we
Oh,
are,
okay.
or we are. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to
Maybe
trust.
that's how I got my times wrong.
Nah. Yeah, I mean maybe.
Yeah, I think I just
Actually,
think I just screwed up.
I don't know how you guys can manage how Australia and United States and Russia and how a country is being managed with so many time zones. For me, it's a mess. It's like, I mean, we have it too. We have different time zones in islands, but nobody
Really?
really cares. Yes, Portugal have the two islands, one in the middle of the Pacific, called in English Azores,
Okay.
and
I
the
don't think we have that many in Australia. The main time differences is that I think Perth in Western Australia is about 3 hours behind us. South Australia is 30 minutes behind Victoria. And I'm not really sure about the rest, but there's not a huge difference.
I was reading on I was reading, where was I reading it? Yeah, on Reddit, that the country that has the most area with the same time zone is China.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's like it's absurd the difference from one end to the other. It's really wow. Do you like to travel, Colin?
I do. I did Europe for about 3 months. I was staying in Indonesia for about 3 months as well. I've probably been to about, I think it's close to 30 countries.
Oh, damn it. I've been
But for an Australian, it's so far. We're so far from everyone else.
yeah, so when you go out of it, you should really enjoy it, and you should really take
Yeah,
advantage of being
it's always long. It's always long traveling because you can't just like step over from like Portugal to France or
yeah.
Spain
I
or.
I had a friend who had a boyfriend that he came here from Australia, from Melbourne actually, and the flights were 24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's short.
it's like you lose a day.
Yeah, if you want to do it really cheap, you could be on the plane for about 40 hours.
Oh, damn it. Um,
Yeah,
I was only like in 10 countries, maybe less. But when I go to a country, I really like to take my time and
yeah. So
I,
I never stayed in each country for long. Maybe like a couple of days.
oh, I stay for like 15 days or something.
Ah, yeah. The longest I've stayed in another country have been Scotland and Indonesia.
Now, let me just answer Beowulf. Beowulf, depends. Do you have any ideas for events? Because if you do, please shout it to us that we'll make sure it happens. If not, we will take our time because we don't want to have all the time military related events. We would like
Hmm.
to have political events, social events, not only fight and get gold.
I think the main event that we'll be looking at discussing is doing a weekly video game kind of competition almost. Maybe we could give out some gold as well to the winning person or team or something like that as well, just to get people interested as well. And I think not in game, but I think we'll find that it'll be the more social aspect of it.
Going back, the events went okay. Actually, I was expecting more activity, but then again, it was Christmas.
Yeah. The 300, it was close to 300 fighters in that
Yeah, I was thinking
that event. So at least that shows that there's still some activity.
Yeah, actually, I can check how many people logged in today, and you can too.
110?
I don't know. Wait,
I thought you said 110.
it's your guess, or you are actually look it up?
Oh no, I still haven't put my laptop back on. I'm just gonna let it.
Ah, no, it's 450, and there are 19.
Oh, okay.
There are 19 active users now.
Currently. Would you say Australia is probably the most active country?
That I
Or
cannot.
Serbia?
I cannot do with. I cannot
The
do,
analytics.
Yeah, but I can see Google Analytics with only one,
Oh, okay.
but with only one difference. It's that Google Analytics only show countries that don't use AdBlock. So if you use AdBlock, you don't count for these statistics.
Ah. Well, that'll be like half the Australians.
Yeah.
Including myself, I should probably turn the ad blocker off.
Yeah, you should turn it off because don't click if you are not interested in the ad, but clicks from Australia, United States, and Nordic countries are the only thing that actually worth, and UK as well.
And UK.
Yeah. The most active country today. Let me put on today so I don't mess it up. Today was Serbia. Oh, quite a difference.
Serbia.
Yeah, 27% were from Serbia.
Okay.
16% were from Australia. 16%. Oh, wait, never mind. Because Google Analytics is with United Kingdom time zone. It's with Denmark time zone, so it's showing actually for today that it's not today yet in Portugal. It's Australia, yeah. It's Australia with 18% and Serbia with 13%, and then United States and Poland tied with 12%.
I've got some bad news for you, Mark. I don't think it's Mexico.
Mexico is not on the top 10.
It doesn't even feature.
I can see city as well. The most active city is not set. The second most active city is Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm pretty sure there's about, from what I know, about 10 people.
Actually, these stats are fun because it goes Melbourne, Belgrade, Perth, Warsaw, Brisbane. I don't even know where is Brisbane.
It's in Queensland, in Australia.
Yeah, you're right. Jakarta is Indonesia.
Oh, really? No, Jakarta's in Indonesia.
Yeah, it's a capital. And
yeah.
Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this. Definitely, it's in Poland. Actually, more people active in Poland than I thought.
Oh well, there's an active war between Australia and Poland. So that might be why more people are on today.
Poland so far is the best country I've traveled to.
You're getting pinged.
Yeah, it doesn't even bother me anymore. I'm used interested. And today the average time of a session was 12 minutes. So every time the average for each login is 12 minutes.
Which is really what most two clickers will spend doing, about 10 minutes. Probably less, actually.
Yeah, I think 2 clickers is definitely less. But we will find a way to nullify those 2 clickers.
Yeah.
Let me get ready to publish vPopulus code to live version. You can ask questions as well if you want.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if what was I gonna say? I've completely lost that.
Because I'm doing this and I need some focus to do it, so I cannot be leading the conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So in the last version of vPopulus, because I left by the I did play the last version, but very briefly. Who were the biggest? Which was the biggest country then?
I think it was United States, because United States always gets lots of players from Chrome Store. But
Yeah.
and there was a lot of activity in China as well.
Oh really?
Yes, and Serbia and Poland too. Actually, I only remember the bad days. I only remember when everything started to crumble.
Oh no. America's kind of died in this version.
Yeah,
they were quite easily the biggest country at the start, except for Serbia.
Actually, I think there will be like a surprise in the near future of the countries who are rising, because
You think so?
yeah, because probation countries as well they are not being very well managed. We should babysit them more, but that's actually not my task. It was a really good change, and we only need. This is for me. This is what bothers me the most, because we need, like, if we get 3 people from a country, it can literally start a movement. If they have activity, 3 people in the country will make all the difference. And we are in 2018, people. It's not that easy to find people to play, even if they, if even if not of them keep playing. It's not that easy. And then what people think is, oh, this is but it's not my job to find players. Hey people, flash news, we are community driven, we don't take money for ourselves, we do this for fun. It's not your job, but we actually only started this version of vPopulus because players asked us, come on, bring vPopulus back, bring vPopulus back, we want it back, we'll do this, we'll do that, and then they left. Once we spend a lot of time working on the changes and doing everything, a couple of players were saying this left.
Would you say this version of vPopulus has been more successful than the last?
I don't remember at this date 2045. I don't remember how it was, but it's been definitely more interesting for me. To see to see the rise of power of countries, and to see them go down. It's definitely more interesting, but that's due to the changes we've made. We put a bit more strategy into the game with double hospital, different juices. It changed a bit, so that made it more interesting. The Serbia having a YouTube video that was a bit hard on the. It was a bit hard on the because they were only like 10, 12-year-old players that didn't really understand the game.
Yeah, there's a few in Australia, I know for sure.
But it wasn't a mistake because it was really fun, and we still have those accounts. Those accounts exist, and we can reach them by email, which we do, and some of them come
Yeah.
back. So we will get somewhere. We only need something to bring people back together, because if activity rises, everything else will rise, and everything else will be better, because it will be more exponentially fun.
I think in the actual game, the problem is that a lot of countries don't want to attack each other.
Yeah, I don't
The,
understand. I don't understand.
well, that's why I think Australia has just attacked Poland again. Well, just attack Poland because just for something to do. Like for example, it was the same in the Australia-Serbia war. That was probably the most activity there'd been in a month or so.
Yeah,
No, there was no reason for that other than just to do something.
yeah, but that's the point of the game. It's to have fun and do something. What's the worst? You lose a couple of regions. Hell, come on, you had fun. At first we thought because countries didn't add enough gold, then we start giving gold to countries. Then it was at the Serbia war. It was because they after a while people run out of stocks, and now we are changing production formula. So guys,
Yeah,
there's really no excuse, because this is what the game is supposed to be. It's a strategy to get this
it's a
region,
strategy
to get.
game.
I don't remember the last time anyone attacked an iron region. I Because I don't know. People are maybe people are bored, and people are tired of the same thing over and over again, because there is nobody else to challenge them. It's inertia. It's everything stop. Everything is stopped. It will keep
Mm.
being stopped. Uh, we need. That's why we need. That's why we are changing the formula. That's why we gave gold to countries. That's why we are doing what we are doing. Just to address Mark and Man, it's really hard to grow as a new nation. It's
Well,
we
yeah, especially see for Australia, it was quite easier. Even though we had to do a lot of work to get people to come on board, we already had contacts with people from other games. While
Mhm.
a lot of new players from new countries don't have those same contacts, so they can't exactly do the same things. So I think something I do want to work on is a more of a general guide for new countries and countries that are struggling to get players to recruit for themselves, not just for the advertising. That's probably when you mentioned before a long-term project. That's kind of what I want to do. Make a comprehensive one, just to make it easier for each country to find new players and how to recruit and how to keep them around and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we have for the ones listening that I don't know that are not there, and probably there are that many. We have a community leaders channel, with a channel with country presidents and the country representatives that we
Mm.
use to talk with the leaders of countries to address the issues and to try to kickstart some activity. For example, we had a guide how to baby boom that I just posted on general chat.
Yeah.
It's kind of really
Um,
basic thing. Of course, it can be improved, but it's so basic. Maybe sometimes posting on a forum a short description of the game is enough to get 10 new players, and then those 10 new players will get another 5, and then you post on another forum, and
yeah. For example, Nicky Six Fingers or Three Fingers, he changes it from time to time. He's getting the vPopulus Reddit back on track, so that we're trying to swell that kind of page up so that it gets a bit more visibility, and people might join it. So I think we're going to work on that today, actually.
oh, actually, we should have posted on Reddit that we were doing this podcast, this cafe.
Yeah. I think we need to do a bit more on social media, which is something I want to work on as well. Get the social media all kind of set up, and well, I know that a lot of the channels are already set up, but get like more activity on it.
Yeah, we tried having people to do this for us, a couple of players, but then maybe we didn't support them enough or anything, but they ended up giving up. And it's midnight, and we are on, people. New version is being
And the game is about to be destroyed because of Cloud changing something.
I hope
The end
not.
is nigh.
I hope not. We are also getting a new landing page for the ones who don't know. It's the page before you log in. So when you write vPopulus.
Oh, did that go up as well?
Yes. If there are any fixes, we will do it soon. We are looking.
I think the next big thing that I think people would like to see changed is because that new starting page is really nice. But a lot of people want to see the homepage kind of maybe like a little bit less cluttered. I know you're trying to like get more into it, but like some people say it's too much.
Yeah, sometimes more less is more.
Yeah.
We are facing a big problem. We now have working with us two good graphic designers, but we don't. So they do a nice design, but we don't have anyone to implement it. So we are a bit. We are a bit lost without knowing what we can really do. But
So if anyone listening can do front end developing, give Clav a message.
Yep.
He'd be very grateful.
I definitely will. And it's a great time. It's a great project to learn and to expand your connections and to learn lots of things. We may seem clueless, but remember, guys, we are doing this part time, and vPopulus is a really complex game. And we have wikis, we have internationalizations, we have APIs, so everything is really not as easy as it seems.
No.
And we will get there with the changes. Eventually, we'll get there. I will see what can be removed from the landing from the home page, but I don't really. I'm too much I'm too much inside of it.
Yeah, you're in too
You know?
deep.
Yeah, I'm definitely in too deep. And I later.
Yeah, especially when you spend so much time on something as well. Ooh.
Yeah, I would like to do the
finally
whole
my laptop's back up.
Wow, only took an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And the version is published, guys. So when you work, you'll have 24% more production. Whoa! I just
opened it.
manufactured 22 weapons. Okay, this might have been too much. Now there's literally no excuse.
I'm looking at the home screen, Clav.
Yes.
There's a couple things out of
Yes.
the flags are a bit off. What happened to that background image?
Sorry.
You know the background image in the test?
Yes.
Is that going to be implemented as well?
It's implemented on live version now, but only
Oh,
landing page.
Everything's there but the background for me.
Press Control F5.
Control
Because everything is cached.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense. It's just reloading now. Yeah, here we go.
So nobody is listening to us, only Mark. Come on,
I
Viado, what are you
think
doing?
Viado is listening now, but that's nothing really.
That's actually I should have done a bigger introduction for this, but the point of this it's not really just
Yeah.
being accessible to the players because we know it's the third edition, but they never participated in any of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's
Uh,
hard to get going when you don't have
yeah, but
an audience to interact with.
but the idea of the cafe is that it's an informal conversation between devs, and if somebody makes a question, we answer. It's fine for me. I don't really mind it.
Yeah, well, it's more like the whole point of the reason I wanted to do this one is because that people were saying that they did want more contact, so this was more of a way to do it, but no one really showed up.
Yeah, but it's okay because people will about 90 people listen to it afterward.
Which is good.
Yeah, of course. Come on, it's midnight on a Sunday. People are not going to be here listening. I wouldn't be here listening if I wasn't doing this.
Oh yeah, well, me neither, to be honest. I only listen to the ones I'm actually doing, and I don't actually listen back to them ever. So
Did you
I say
listen
fair enough.
Did you listen to the previous versions of the cafe?
I just had a look at my YouTube thing, and it said I got.
Your microphone. Sorry, you had a look on your YouTube and.
Oh yeah, I had a look at where I got my like where it said I got to on the YouTube thing. It said I got to about halfway through the episode.
That boring.
Then it went left. Oh, it wasn't that boring. I'm guessing I had other things to do. It's an hour. It was more than an hour, so
It's alright, man.
maybe what we should do is link to the main parts of it. Like maybe do like an article afterwards saying like these points are the important parts.
That would be nice.
And if people want to hear us talk nonsense, they can do that as well.
It's not completely nonsense. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's some decent stuff in between the nonsense.
Yeah, because normally we do a bit of more preparation for this, but since I wasn't going to do it, I thought I wouldn't have to. Because we have like a main topics that we want to talk about, and players also know those topics in advance, so they can ask some questions, and then we just joke around.
Yeah.
And
I think what we found out with this episode is there's a lot of trial and failure on my part because I just barged into it and hoped it would work.
yeah, actually, I thought I would need the second screen to make this work properly, but apparently I don't.
So now my laptop's working fine. I think it was OBS that kept crashing it because it happened last night as well.
Okay.
Because when I tried to do OBS, trying to like work it to see if it would work, that was when my laptop crashed. So I blame you.
It's okay. Maybe we should stop here because it's been an hour and 40 minutes almost.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
So I will let you wrap it up. I'll let you finish.
All right. Well, I don't really have anything else left to say other than thank you for listening. I hope it wasn't too bad, even though the start was awful. And we hope you listen to the next vPopulus Cafe.
Bye, guys.
See ya.